Okay.
Wait.
Okay, so after we got the motor apart, we cleaned up the shaft and the bushings. We see some scoring right here on the shaft. That scoring is where the bearing makes contact. This is the load side. This is where the bearing ran dry, and you can see the scoring that happened because of the lack of lubrication. Now, if you can feel these with your fingernail, and I can, that means there's ridges in there that will eat away at the new bushing. Whether we oil it and clean it up doesn't really matter. Eventually, it's going to fail. The same reason you need to recut your brake rotors when you put new brake pads on. So I've chucked this up to the drill press here. We're going to spin this up, and we're going to try and polish some of those high ends off of there. If I had a lathe, I would chuck this up in a lathe and actually cut that down. We can't go too far because this diameter needs to fit inside the existing bushing. So we're going to clean it up as best we can without changing the OD. First we'll try the green scrunchie because it's not very aggressive. That's polishing up quite nicely. I can feel the ridges going away. And it looks like this is going to do it. So this takes off a minimal amount of material. And when we do our final stroke, we're going to do it slowly, we're going to do it evenly, and we're going to do it from here to here. That puts fine microscopic grooves that will draw the oil into the motor instead of screwing the oil out of the motor. So for the final wrap, we're going to go from the bottom or the outside to the inside to put a spiral-like thread in that shaft, and that will prevent oil from being drawn out of the shaft. If anything, it will keep the oil in where the seal is. Mirror finish. So I repacked the bearing casing with cotton, and let's see if this shaft fits any better now. Okay, I'd say we fixed it. There's a little bit of play in there, but I think when we get it all back together, that'll be acceptable. We'll find out. Okay, so I'm putting some new oil in the packing. This cotton will soak up the oil and keep it held in there like a sponge. And there's a little piece inside here. You see it right there? That's where this felt comes through a little slot to keep this inner race oiled. So basically that is attached to this cotton, and it just wicks its way into that shaft. We got this all lubed up now. It's pretty much saturated. You can tell when it's full because it's saturated. That means the cotton's not going to hold any more oil, and if we overfill it, eventually gravity is going to cause this oil to drip back out. So we're going to let this sit and equalize for a minute, let the cotton soak up everything, and we're going to hold it like this and make sure we don't get a drip down here. If we get a drip down here, there's too much oil. Let that settle out. Then we'll put the caps back on, put the motor back together.